Hey, what's up, cats and kittens? And shout out to all my cerebralites. It is she, the Cerebral Diva, and she is back with another episode of RealiTEA, and that's TEA because I give it to you scalding hot. So grab your cups, grab your saucers, gather around, and let's all partake in this libation of Braxton Family Values tea. All right, people, so here we are, Season 6, Episode 4. This latest installment is entitled Law and Order. Now, this was a really interesting episode. Now, first of all, before I even talk about the episode, am I the only one that's missing Tamar's presence this season? And I've been wondering exactly why she hasn't been around as much. And I know she's been on tour, but even when she's on tour, the camera crew typically still follows her around on tour. But it seems like she's making a conscious effort to not be a part of this particular cast anymore. It seems like she's really making a conscious effort to sort of to separate, to make sure that there is a clear and defined line of demarcation between the Tamar brand and the Braxton brand. Um, and after seeing the most recent episode, I can understand exactly what's going on. So before we talk about the good stuff, let's talk a little bit about the minutiae that happened in this episode. So Toni Braxton's long-standing engagement to Birdman is finally announced. So we find out that she and Birdman are officially engaged. I'm sorry, people. Now, I try not to judge a book by its cover. Um, and, beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Like who likes you. I believe in all of those things. But to me, Toni Braxton is a beautiful, striking, stunning, even given her age of 50, she is just a beautiful woman. And when I look at her, excuse me, and I look at Birdman, I'm saying to myself, what could possibly be the attraction? And it's not even about him, quote unquote, being a thug, if you will, even though thugs are not my thing, but hey, if that's your thing, great. But just a man with Toni seems so elegant and so refined, and maybe that's really just the facade that she puts on for us. But when you look at her, it sort of harkens back to the days of Whitney and Bobby, and we all know that our initial impressions of Whitney, rest in peace, weren't necessarily the most accurate. Even from Bobby Brown's book, I think he says that Whitney is the one who introduced him into drugs. And a lot of us had the impression that Bobby was sort of the catalyst that pushed Whitney down that very dark and winding road, down the rabbit hole, if you will. So when I look at Toni and Birdman, they would never. If I were friends with the both of them, I would never look at Birdman and say, "Oh, I have the perfect friend for you," and I would never look at Toni and say, "Oh, I have the perfect person in mind for you," and think Birdman. It just wouldn't happen. Like, I just don't picture the two of them together. But hey, I mean. Like who likes you, I guess. Once again, if they like it, I love it. It's really not my business. But hey, and I mean, I guess if nothing else, they both have financial issues in common. Birdman, it's not the best at managing money, and neither is Toni. So maybe they can, maybe a negative plus a negative equals a positive. Maybe they'll cancel each other out, and it will turn into something great financially for the both of them. Anyhow, best of luck to the two of them. All right, so moving on from that. What else happened during this episode? So initially, early on in the episode, we see Towanda and Trina, and before I touch on that, we're going to talk a little bit about Tracy and her son's marriage to, or the baby that he's expecting. Now, say what you will, and once again, I try not to be critical, but look, I'm a human, so sometimes I fall short of my goals. But I think the women in the Braxton family are absolutely stunning. But is it just me? I just don't find the men very attractive. I'm sorry. So whatever gene pool that they come from, for whatever reason, in a female incarnation, it translates very well. But in the male incarnation, not so much, because Tracy's son, I don't know, it just doesn't do it for me personally. But I will say this: in one of the interviews, they pulled his hair back, and I was thinking it was so funny. I'm like, with his face is really sort of oblong, the shape of his face, and the dreads are sort of just pulling him down and making him look, I don't know, like a melting candle. It's just hard to explain. Like, the dreads do absolutely nothing but help to elongate his face further. So I'm thinking this dude needs a haircut, a short haircut, maybe a tapered cut, or maybe maybe a tapered fro, with a little sort of texture to it. Maybe that might be. It would still give him that earthy vibe, but it would also help to sort of balance out the length of his face. Just me, just venting here. So, so anyhow, so we follow Tracy and her son, and he's expecting a baby. She's the Duchess, i.e., grandmother, and so that was a little cute just to see that. Even Tracy sometimes is hard for me to listen to. She's just, yeah. So let's move on from that. So let's talk about what really happened in this episode. And this episode was titled Law and Order, and there was a very specific reason why it was entitled Law and Order. So very early on, we see Towanda and Tracy, and they're driving around. I think they're home in Atlanta. Excuse me. And they're talking about their mom, and she's sort of alluding to the fact that they're on their way to see an attorney to talk about suing someone in the family. Now, of course, when they're being very covert about that, my initial summation, if you will, or supposition was that more than likely they're talking about Tamar. And I was partially right. They were talking about both Tamar and Vince. So apparently, here's what's going on. Both Tamar and Vince are, I believe, the executive producers of Braxton Family Values. In addition to being the executive producers, according to the lawsuit that Towanda, Tracy, and Trina are filing, Tamar and Vince have surreptitiously taken away their rights to ownership from that theme song and have not paid them for performance rights. So every time that song is played, like every episode, that episode is played, every time it's re-aired, whenever that particular song is played, there's a performance royalty that goes along with that song. And so Tamar and Vince have been recouping all of the money from that particular song, as they were the only songwriters and producers on that song. So being that Tracy, Trina, Towanda, and Tamar and Tony, I believe, all sang on the song, none of them are getting their performance royalties from the song, which caused the lawsuit. Now, I say this. Sometimes in life you have to pick and choose your battles. Now, when it comes to the song from the Braxton Family Values, this song is not going to be number one on the Billboard charts. It's not going to be number one on the dance charts. This song is solely a song that's probably going to make money from television, from it being played on the television show. No one is downloading that from iTunes, so no one's downloading that from the Google Play Store. No one is adding that to their playlist. Like, it's just not a song in my mind, and maybe I don't know enough about the song, but I just don't see it really garnering enough revenue to warrant the dissolution of a relationship, a long-standing relationship. Now, it's not my money, so it's easy for me to not feel that way. So let me say this. One of the reasons I say that is because, like him, love him or hate him, a lot of the success, a lot of the most recent success that the Braxton family has had is directly attributed to Vince. It is directly attributed to his management and his vision for what the family could be and what the family can do. Had it not have been for him and Tamar producing or executive producing the show, Braxton Family Values, and for Tony's brand, none of the people on the show, i.e. Trina, Tracy, Towanda, Evelyn, the dad, and the other sort of B castmates, none of those people would have the platform that they've been given. So at that point, you have to say, should I be thankful for what I've been given, or should I want instead of having 8/10 of the pie, do I want the whole pie? And given the turmoil that's happening in Tamar and Vincent's marriage and everything that they're going through, and even I think it's even been said publicly that Vince is having financial difficulties at this point. Would I really want to compound whatever issues that he's going, especially when you look back on the history of the show and see how they were calling him brother, and all of the different things, and I don't want to put the onus solely on the girls, right? Because right is right and wrong is wrong. And if Vincent took money and if Tamar took money that belonged to the sisters, they are not absolved of their wrongdoing, and I wholeheartedly believe that they should be held accountable for doing that. But my only issue is it worth a lawsuit? Now, is it worth a good cursing out in private? Is it worth a good reading in private? Absolutely. Go in and let them have it. But I don't know that it's worth it to take it or elevate it to the level of a lawsuit, is what I'm saying. Now, if you don't want to do business with them as a result of doing that, I totally understand that. If it changes the way that you do business with them moving forward, I totally understand that. Sometimes when you learn these lessons, some of these life lessons come at a cost. And maybe the theme song is just the cost that you had to pay for this life lesson. So, and at the end of the day, I guess what I'm trying to say is that I just really don't think that the amount of royalties that are going to be garnered from this particular song are worth compromising the relationship. However, and I apologize for going back and forth, but at the same time, when you look at the relationship between Tamar and her sisters, it's already a very fragile relationship to begin with. So maybe that is also part of the impetus for them to move forward with this lawsuit, because there really isn't when you look at the relationships with the sisters, the relationship with Tamar is clearly the weakest of all of the relationships. Each sister, Tony probably has the strongest relationship, and I think that she probably has the strongest relationship with Tamar because Tamar has the most reverence, the most respect for Tony. And so because of that, she doesn't necessarily push Tony's buttons to the degree that she would other girls. And also, I think because of Tony's position and Tony's level, she's not as bothered by some of Tamar's antics as some of the other girls are. So, it'll be interesting to see what happens. I just hope that in the end, that they all figure out a way to work it out. But based on the way that things are going right now, I don't even see Tamar really being a part of the show for much longer. I think based on what I see, and I was seeing this even last season on Tamar and Vince, Tamar was hanging out a lot with her gay friends, right? And we know that Tamar loves her gay friends. And I really think that that's going to be the premise for a new show. We're going to see a single Tamar starting her own talk show, dating, single, and being a single mom, and all of these sort of antics that arise as a result of her new single status. I really think that that's going to be the show that we're going to wind up seeing, because whether you like it or not, Tamar is really the reason that Braxton Family Values is as popular as it is. Tamar is the reason that Tamar and Vince is as popular as it is. If you take Tamar away from either of those shows, they both go away. So I think that these girls are probably shooting themselves in the foot by creating this problem with Tamar. Anyhow, that's how I feel, you guys. I want to know what you think, so make sure you comment below. As always, remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Remember to live better, love harder, and think smarter. Oh, and really quick about Towanda. They were talking about her boyfriend a little bit. I guess there's a little bit of hubbub about who she's dating. Now, as far as I know, she was dating Cordell Stewart. Now, a lot of people say that Cordell isn't exactly into the female form. I don't know. It's not my business. But as far as I know, that is who she's dating. But if you know who she's actually dating currently, please comment below as well, because I'm curious. I want to know. You guys seem to have a lot of information. I read the comments sometimes. So if you're privy, if you live in Atlanta and you've seen Towanda out and about and you know who she's dating, please comment below and let us all know here exactly what's going on. With that being said, you guys, once again, remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Remember to live better, love harder, and think smarter. It is me, the Cerebral Diva, and I will talk to you guys again soon. Have a great day.